It's such a pity and a shame that we live in a country where we are religiously blinded by
Mm.
religion, you know. Both right now, it's not just about being a Christian or being a Muslim now, because it's more like we have to take things into our own hands. Everybody has to rise up to save the country. Even everybody who is in diaspora is actually scared. A lot of people don't want to come back. I've had colleagues of mine who wants to even buy a house in Cotonou, who is actually a Nigerian. He doesn't want to invest in Nigeria. He doesn't want to come back because of things happening, you know. And the annoying thing that's even annoying me and pissing me off is people saying prayers, prayers, prayers. Even the Bible says watch and pray. So why are people being blinded by the religion thing? You know, Nigerians are so hypocritical about things. You know, they don't see things in a different perspective. A whole lot of them. I don't want to say if it's an illiteracy of a thing. I don't think so. You know, because Nigerians are really educated people. You know, but what's really going on? It's really, really. In fact, we don't even have words for it at all. It's such a shame that Nigeria is sinking every day. Every day we open the news, we don't see anything good at all. Nothing to even give you joy or excitement of coming back home. Nothing at all. And sincerely, to me personally, I don't think people have had enough. I don't think the Nigerian youth have had enough to rise up and say no to all the things happening. That's what I think. I think until the thing touches everybody one by one, then we'll understand that Nigeria is sinking. And I pray that it's not too late for us to redeem our country, because over here, they don't regard us. Once you say you are a Nigerian, they automatically tag you as a criminal, or they automatically say, if you think your country is good, why don't you go back? Even a Ghanaian see you as a threat over here in the UK, you know.
Wow.
Not to think of even a Cameroonian. I've had a Cameroonian who said to me, my country is better than yours. If you think it's that better, you should go back. An African brother and an African sister, you know. They say, if Nigeria is not better, then I don't know what you guys are doing, then we're better than you guys. You know,
Mm.
it's such a shame. It's such a shame. You can't even identify yourself to be a Nigerian anymore. That's the bad part of it, you know. In fact, so one of the stories that I had, my personal experience that I have gone through in this country, being married to a British person, on my own personal story that I'm going to share someday, it's because I'm a Nigerian, you know,
Mm.
because I'm a Nigerian. It's really, really, really too bad. You know, people don't understand the extent of what's going on in Nigeria until you step out of the four walls of the country. Then you will understand how bad it is that Nigeria is sinking. If no, I don't want to use the word gone, because I still believe that Nigeria can be redeemed. But if you step out of the country and you live here, you will understand how bad it is to be
Mm.
called a Nigerian. Even at work, you can't even, some people even claim other countries. That's how bad it is. Some people claim to be other African countries. You can't even say you're a Nigerian. The moment you say that, you're tagged. You know, you're tagged, which is really bad. You know, not to talk of killings every day. If you talk too much, they say, go back. Even your
Mm.
own African brother, you talk too much, you say, go back, go back, go back, go back. It's it's really, really devastating. I want to go back to visit my parent, but my mom is even telling me not to go back. because you're even scared of being outside the street. You know, it's we're all just trying to. It's just that Nigerians are strong set of people, you know, that they move on even despite the pain. I don't know how we do it. I really don't know how we do it, you know, and which is one thing that's killing us. We move on too quickly on things. I say it all the time that if the UK experienced just a little, just a tiny bit, just a little bit of what is happening in Nigeria, I think it's going to sink, you know. Nobody's going to take it at all. We worship leaders. We worship them. They are servants. They're supposed to serve the people, but we worship them. That's why they have so much power, you know, over the people, and in putting poverty, controlling the minds of the people so they can't think. Look now, before you know it, we're going to move on from this killing. We're going to carry on. By next week, we'll carry on again. We'll move on until the next topic comes up again. We dive into it again. We don't know if it's going to change, if Nigeria is going to stand after 2023. It's really scary. It's very scary for us outside.
You see, I need to say a few things. While you were talking, I was scrolling through a post I made earlier on. And under the post, I said, dear Nigerian Christians, Jesus no be bulletproof. Holy Spirit no be odeshi. Secure places of worship, hire well-equipped security guards, and take security precautions. Stephen was filled with the Holy Spirit in Acts chapter 7, verse 55. Yet the stone still enter. And people were saying, what I'm saying is too sensitive. That's my problem with Nigeria. When am I going to say this? 1 month from now, when nobody's talking about this and it has no impact? I'm tired of the sentiments in Nigeria. Daddy Freeze, don't you think this is a little too raw? It is raw, it is raw, it is raw. By tomorrow morning, they are talking about Big Brother. When are we going to address the issue that the church, if that church had a proper security infrastructure in place, this attack would either have been repelled or its proportion reduced in magnitude? Do you agree?
Daddy Freeze, good evening.
You don't face the truth.
Do you? Hold on, let me finish. Do you agree with me that if this church had proper armed security operatives, this attack might have been repelled, or worst case scenario, reduced greatly in magnitude? One of our problems in this country is the fact that we are too emotional and too sentimental. And in our emotion and sentiment, we blur out our reality. We don't realize that 2 days from now, this will not be an issue again. People will have moved on to other more pressing matters like Big Brother.
And politicians go about their business, election.
Like politics, like election. Give this matter 3 days, they will have moved on. When are we going to tell ourselves the truth? As far as I'm concerned, with the spate of attacks on churches, by now, this attack did not need to happen before the church secured itself with legal security operatives. We are too sentimental. We are turning this into a tribal thing. Hey, it's Fulani, it's his house. Did you catch one person and the person say it's Fulani? You. Because you don't like, let me tell you, growing up, I call this factor. Growing up, there was one boy in my neighborhood. We lived in there were 4 flats in a compound. We stayed in one on the right bottom, Luku stayed, I think, on the top of our house. Luku was just a bad boy. So anything that spoils a neighbor is Luku. That's how one day my sister was crying. My baby sister is a doctor now in the UK. She was about 2 years old. There was a fly on her hand and she was crying, hey, Luku, Luku. She was blamed for the fly. And that's where I picked up the Luku factor from. You see, anything way bad now, they go say na Hausa. Whether Hausa know about them, whether Hausa get hand inside, whether they will just transfer, say it's them. No, they'll not even say Hausa, they'll say it's Northerners. Meanwhile, we know that our country is not safe or secure, and we stroll with our hands and our leg carrying Bible in our hands, going to church, knowing that some people have been attacking churches. Even if there were 2 policemen with Shakabula outside that church, they would have been able to reduce the magnitude of the attack, if not totally repel it. Now imagine a proper security detail. You see, people need to understand, I said this, while the guns were blazing, there was a crucifix in that church. The crucifix did not stop the bullets. You might not like what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is a fact. I don't see any church.
No, you're right, that phrase. That is why a lot of people, I don't know, I've made the research. A lot of people don't go to church outside the country.
You can't hand over the responsibility and the power of an AK to a crucifix or an armband or a sticker or a rosary or holy water or Goya oil. Israel, that owns the God that we pray to, have nuclear weapons. They have Iron Dome technology. They spend 17.8 billion US dollars on their security, on their defense system in 2022. That was their budget. I want to ask you guys a question. Imagine Nigeria went to play football against Israel. Which God are we going to pray to? Imagine football in final now. Now Nigeria against Israel. Which God are we going to pray to? We are going to pray to the God of Jacob as we go and play against the descendants of Jacob.
Is that your question? Hit hard.
But that's the reality of our situation. I am not saying don't go to church. I am not saying don't pray. I am saying you can't continue going to church the way you were going to. They've been attacking churches. What do you need to do? CCTV. Security. Your security guards need to start going to training. The church needs to start pushing the government to give them the right to carry security details that are at least armed. This is where the conversation should be. But instead, we are talking about one political candidate or the other, jumping here, jumping there, and then the whole confusion is shrouded under big sister Nigeria. Please, you guys, the floor is yours. I just needed to pass that on.
Okay, let me say something. Thank you. Good evening. No, you've said it all right. There's nowhere that there's no crime. There's crime everywhere. There's killing everywhere. I mean, I'm sure you must have heard what is going on here in the States too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even just this weekend alone, we know how many deaths so far this weekend alone. Is on CNN. This year alone, we've lost over 200 plus in mass shooting just like that. But then, you know, you see, it's very difficult for someone, is it whether a non-government or gunmen, to come out here and commit such a crime and go free. It's in fact, they don't even escape it. They will either be gunned down on the point of that mass shooting, or they will be.
Don't use the word because of Instagram or algorithm.
They don't escape it.
Hold on, sis. Hold on. Don't say shooting. Just try to use clever words, or else the Instagram algorithm will suppress the video and nobody will see it. So at the
Okay.
end of it, yes, social media is one of our problems. If it is somebody shaking Bobby and shaking behind now, they everywhere. Just getting tired. Continue, Jerry.
What I'm saying is, when such a thing happens outside, you see that the security personnel, you see helicopter, you see police, you see, I mean, they try everything possible to make sure they apprehend people behind it. But ours, it happens, and the people will just do whatever it is that they've come out to do, and they will go freely. The same story every year. I've been hearing about this since I was a child. There is always this story repetition, and still our politicians are not doing anything about it. Let's assume we equip the force we have back home the way it should be. You can imagine a situation like that, a thing like that was happening, and somebody in the church rings the police. And let's say they come. I mean, does it mean we only have people who have private jets? Does it mean that Nigerian presidents, Nigerian government or whatever can bring out jets that can be used in a situation like this? I mean, there's already phone there to make a call, to place a call and say, look at what is happening at so and so place. Because it didn't just take those guys 1 minute to come in there and shoot. It didn't take them 1 minute to come in there and do that and leave. It took them some time to get out of that place. Okay, the priest said they were locked up for 20 minutes. That 20 minutes is enough for security personnel to go to that place and get hold of whoever that is involved, because they keep doing this and they keep going freely, for goodness sake. The same story every day.
You see, my sister, yeah, there's something we have to take into cognizance. It's the fact that this is a conversation, any religious conversation, any conversation that has the borders of religion becomes, oh my God, oh, it's God. We can't discuss it. We are mere mortals. Oh, wow, it's God. You see, it's one of my main tasks on earth to show you that we have misunderstood God, not because God wanted us to misunderstand him, but because those who sold God to us needed for God to be a mystery so they could be the intermediaries. You see, the reason why you can't defend yourself in court and you have to hire a lawyer creates perpetual occupational opportunities for the lawyers. The day you go and read the law book and stand in front of the judge yourself and you can successfully defend yourself, what you are doing is you're doing away with the lawyer. But as long as you are not ready to read the book, as long as you're not ready to do the work, you will always have to hire a lawyer, because the law will be a mystery to you. There are people who have successfully defended themselves without lawyers. They have. Not many, but a few. You see, the law is a mystery until you start to study it. Same thing with God. God is a mystery until you start to study God. You can never get to know God, but you will move away a far distance from where Nigerians currently are. I was watching Obum Akunyili, the son of, I hope I got you are Igbo, Samaria, so you'll correct me, the pronunciation right, Dora Akunyili's son. He said when his mother had stage 4 cancer, his mother went from one pastor to the other. They prayed and they declared. They said there was one guy that was literally on the phone with God, telling her that no, that God is going to heal her, God is going to heal her. That at a point, she went to a church camp and prayed for a week and came home and told her husband to take her to the hospital, that she wants to go and do the test again, that the cancer is gone. And the father started crying. Of course, they went there. The cancer was still there. We go around saying things like what God cannot do does not exist, forgetting that God is not going to descend into the level of our foolishness to prove his existence. Meanwhile, those selling all these slogans to you are making billions. We need to start having narratives around God. The house of God in a country that is not secure needs to be secure. I love the Catholic Church. The Catholic priests are not like Pentecostal pastors that go around in one siren and armed convoys and security details and all that. I love the modesty of the Catholic Church. However, in a situation like this, churches, in my humble opinion, need to be properly protected. Nneka Spiff, you've not said anything. How are you, my darling? You're looking quite beautiful this evening. Go
Thank you.
ahead.
So you said it all. I mean, I lived in Nigeria for a very long time before I left. Now, what I can remember is, you know, when you live in Nigeria, some things become normal. You start getting used to this kind of bad news. After 2 days, you move on because, I mean, how many of them, you know?
Mm.
So, just to keep it short, if government cannot protect us, we need to start protecting ourselves. If the government can protect us, we need to start protecting ourselves. Like my sister down there said, in the US, things happen. People go out and go crazy. But at least you know some of those people involved, their families would definitely get closure, because whoever commits a crime, there's a possibility of you being caught and people will get justice. But in Nigeria, nobody gets justice. No one gets closure. Issues like this, we just talk about it for 2 days and then we move on. I think it's time we start doing whatever it takes to start protecting ourselves. Yeah.
Daddy Freeze, Daddy Freeze.
Go.
I'm sorry, you said something about church putting CCTV. That's right.
Yeah.
Considering the network system in some of those remote areas, how many churches? There are a lot of churches. Where are you going to start from? How many are you putting securities on? If you ask me, I would still say a quick response, emergency response, immediate response, emergency will go a long way in helping the situation. You know, provision of a helicopter jets that can, you know, go during an emergency like this, respond quick, you know.
I can remember those days in Port Harcourt. Let's say there's something happening in my one. People will call you, no past my one, no, then they shoot for there. Oh, sorry, then they, you know, bad people are there, right? Then you would avoid that area and go somewhere else. Why do we have to leave that way? It became like we became used to it. Okay, something they happen for this side, we'll not go that side, make we go another side. It became like a normal thing to everyone.
You see, the police busy
abroad,
they are busy vehicles, they're not doing their job.
Exactly. We don't have a government to protect us. That's all I'm saying. We do not have a government to protect us. Now we're getting used to all this, whatever the case may be, whatever is going on, we're getting used to it, which is not good. We need to start protecting ourselves. I don't know how we're going to do that. I am not suggesting anything, but we need to rise up and start protecting ourselves. It doesn't look like this would stop anytime soon. Whether House of God, very soon they'll start going into shops. They'll start going into malls. They might even come into our homes. That's
started breaking into homes.
Exactly. So
now, about state policing, what is your take on this? Can you guys hear? State policing. Okay, let me remove someone. Ada Black, thank you so much. You came here first.
Thank you.
My darling sister. Let me add somebody new. Let me add a few people. And anybody else who thinks they can comment on this particular issue, state policing, please send me a...
I can go.
Oh, wow. And I thought you'd be a guy. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm not a guy.
Go ahead. What is your take?
Hi, my take is I want to shift a bit from the incident as per the shooting and go a bit into the hospital, the FMC. You see, the pictures that were coming from the FMC was worse than a regular clinic, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm here in Canada, and I know what the hospitals look like. So if you're really sick and you have to go to a clinic, at least you get some help or some medication, But I saw people put their foot on boxes, like they had to make makeshift boxes for people to hang up their legs. The hospital beds were nothing to write home about. That for me is something we need to look at too, because let's assume there's always crime, there are always incidences. Then what happens when those things happen and we have to respond? A lot of people will still die despite the fact that they got help.
Thanks for that, sis. Thank you so much for that. God bless you. If there's anything I learned from aviation is the greatest majority of lives are lost after the aircraft has come to a complete stop. The highest number of lives. What does this tell you? This indicates the need or begs the need for proper management of emergencies. The plane crash landed. It has landed. It has stopped. Nobody should die again on that plane. But the highest number of people, because airports are not well equipped, people are not well trained, air hostesses are not properly briefed, they mess it up, and boom, a plane that could have been evacuated in 3 minutes, all of a sudden people lose their lives. Official Bongoli, you are here shouting, bring me on, bring me on. You did not send me a request. I cannot bring you on from the live. Okay, finally you sent a request. I can't bring you on directly from the comment section. You want to say anything, send me a request. And you are final caller for this evening. And of course, Samaria and Nneka will share their thoughts. Go ahead, dear brother.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I would like to take a little detour on this insecurity that we are having in Nigeria. Firstly, I want us to realize that Nigeria's budget is 15% on security. So Nigeria's budget is 18 trillion, about 18 trillion, and our security budget is about 2.7 to 3 trillion.
Okay.
If my math serves me correctly.
Dollars. The whole world calculates in dollars.
No, 3 trillion naira. 3 trillion naira. So our budget is $45 billion.
45.
Our Nigeria's budget is $45 billion.
The whole budget.
Yes, Nigeria's budget is $45 billion.
Okay. Of which, how much percent?
15% is on security.
Times 0.15. So 6.
Yes, that will give you
6 billion.
Yes.
Is our budget for security.
Yes, in Nigeria.
Saudi
yes.
Arabia, their budget is $48 billion.
Yes, therein lies the problem.
$17.8 billion. I'm giving you facts.
Yes.
Both of those do not have our population.
Yes, so therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem. Like averagely, there's what they call the police per capita ratio, which for every 100,000 people, you should have about 335, 336 police officers. In Nigeria, we have 185 per 100,000 people. So the total amount of police officers we have in Nigeria is between 370 to 380,000. Now, when you look at Nigerian army, we have about 130,000 army, navy, air force, and all that. Then we have about 80,000 paramilitary. We have about 80,000 paramilitary. Now, our security nomenclature is stretched. Don't forget that we have lack of funding. We have lack of funding in the country, and they have poor training and they have poor benefits. But the president, just this, I think last week, they had an appropriations budget where they had to adjust some things. Because remember, was it last month or 2 months ago, the police threatened to go on a strike, if you remember in the news. So now they increased their budget by 182.5 billion naira. I'm giving you all of this information because we can sit here and talk about a lot of, what's it called? We can sit here and talk about, oh, we need this security, we need that security and all that, but there is no funding. There is no training. We are super stretched. And one of the major reasons is population. We have a serious population issue in Nigeria. We have very soft targets in Nigeria. Just the recent global, I know you said you don't want us to use that word. TERROR.
Yeah.
You know, Nigeria ranks number 6 in the world. Nigeria is ranked number 3 in Africa. I think we have Somalia, Burkina Faso, and Nigeria. So Iraq is number 1. I think Afghanistan is number 1. Iraq is number 2. Somalia number 3. Burkina Faso number 4. Syria number 5. And Nigeria number 6. See, with Nigeria's insecurity, there are also some, what's it called, climatic factors to Nigerian insecurity. There are also some climate. I want people to understand that there is serious desertification going on in the north. So this is global warming issue here. If you look at what's it called, Lake Chad has actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Has shrunk by 90% in the last 40 years. It has shrunk by 90% in the last. Yes, so that is where because you have this nomadic movement. We can't take off that nomadic movement going on by a certain tribe in Nigeria. Right? So they move. So now that particular place is desertifying, now desertification is turning into deserts and all that. So now they will have to migrate to the south. That's why, if you notice, the news would always come up in the south more with these issues towards the rainy season. Now there's more grass that these animals can feed on. So there's always going to be interaction between farmers and herders. So what then happens is when there's an incident, because that particular tribe, I'm not trying to paint them bad, but that particular tribe, they are very sophisticated in their communication, such that they can get mercenaries from the outside to come and do whatever they are doing. For example, look at what's going on in southern Kaduna, for example. You get mercenaries in to do whatever you want to. Look at what's happening in Benue, for example. Now, we can also move to resource control, for example. A lot of people do not know the history of BANDITRY. I'm trying to watch what I'm saying. BANDI.
So much.
A lot of them, that B word, a lot of them actually started in Zamfara State, where they were mining gold. That is one of the history of those people. And then when they were mining, illegal mining of gold. So by illegally mining that gold, they are protecting it. It is going to CHINA. It's going to CHINA. Then the federal government is saying, hey, we don't want you guys to do this anymore. Then it began to degenerate. Then you start having cattle rustling. But let me move forward. Resource control is also a major issue here. Because if we begin to run a regional government, unfortunately, Nigeria was run regionally. However, in 1966, Agui Rossi brought out Decree 34 that unified the country. He was thinking maybe because of the coup that happened, he wants to unify everybody. But unfortunately, by doing that, he turned the regional government into a unitary government. So with that particular incident happening, now you have made regions lazy. Because, for example, Daddy Freeze, if the northern part of the country is actually getting their, developing and investing in production, human capital development and production, industrialization and all that. And they know that is what they actually get. That is what they'll feed on. There'll be less people coming into power. Okay, imagine, for example, in Nigeria, for example, according to 1999's constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, section 44, subsection 3, it says all of the mineral resources and the waters is controlled by the federation. Now, you can interpret that thing differently, but it seems like a lot of people don't know how to interpret that. He said the federation. He didn't say the federal government. But now it's the federal government that is actually controlling all of that. Imagine if different states or different regions in Nigeria are controlling that. You have less insecurity issues. Now, the third one is the political will. Is there political will? Are we actually electing? Are we good followers? Are we actually electing the right people into office to represent us in the legislature? Because a lot of people are really focusing on who is going to be the president. Who is going to be the president? Nobody is thinking about who is my state rep, who is my local government chairman, who is my federal rep, who is my senator. Nobody is thinking about that. Nigeria is 200 million. Our army and paramilitary is 213,000. Now in Egypt, Egypt is 100 million people and their army is 1 million. Then when you have their paramilitary is 300,000. So they are 1.3 million over 100 million. While Nigeria is 218,000 or 213,000 over 200 million. So that's why I'm saying that we are super stretched. A lot of people are talking about Owo. I commiserate with the people in Owo. God sees my heart. However, these things have been going on in Nigeria since time immemorial. For example, last week, about over 100 farmers were neutralized in Zamfara State, in Katsina State, and in Borno. Where was the outrage? Are they not also Nigerians? Do you think it was not going to come close to home? Do you think it was not going to come close to home? It's going to come close to home. What else do I want to talk about here? Well, at the end of the day, all that I will say is that we need to control our population, because population control itself is causing a whole lot of problem for us. Not even in insecurity, in developing our economy, because we have this population, but it's not human capital development. Like we don't have value. Nigeria's value, a Nigerian's value is 74 cents per day, while the value of a person from Vietnam is $10 per day. You see the comparison here?
Yes.
So how will you value a Nigerian life? So we can keep on talking here, we can keep on ranting here. All I'll tell you guys is, let us have that political will, political consciousness. Let us educate ourselves, formally and informally, thereby creating value. And let us give the Nigerian security a little slack. Honestly speaking, we all are sitting here and hammering and hammering and hammering. Okay, out of the 70,000 police officers we have, about half are guiding the VIPs. The VIPs, the guys in the what's it called, in the government. You can't take that away from them. Over half is doing that. And how many do you have left? Look at what's going on in the southeast. People that are in the force, in the police force and all that, they are being neutralized. Look at what's going on in the south, in the southwest, and in the north also. Lastly, before I go, you talked about state policing. Now, with state policing, there are going to be serious issues with state policing, because there's some form of bias. And I think that if you look at the way the primary elections are going on right now, you would understand the bias behind why the federal government will not want to do that. Now, we talk about state policing, state policing. Do you know how the state gargles the local government in Nigeria? We have 774 local governments in Nigeria. Averagely, every local government gets at least 150 million naira, averagely, every month. But that money goes into a joint account with the state government. That's what Buhari has been fighting all this while, so that the local government can be autonomous. Also, even the state costs also can be autonomous also. But now you are controlling local government. You don't want to leave the grass of the local government, and then you want state police. So federal government is telling state governors or the state government that, hey, if you want state police, that's part of the conversation. Remove the shackles you have off that of the local government. Now, secondly, with the way Nigeria is, if you give the, in quotes, state governors that much power to have state police, man, it might become the wild, wild west, though. And it might be Billy the Kid. It might be Billy the Kid issues we might be dealing with here. Yeah, it might be Billy the Kid issues that we might be dealing with here. Now, what about funding? Who is going to fund state policing? Now, see, Nigeria is not productive as a country for the most part. So how are you going to get funding? Nigeria owes over about $100 billion right now as we are speaking, and we are going to owe more because somebody went to tell this current government that you can borrow up to 25% of your GDP. Nigeria's GDP is about $440 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, $440 billion. And their target is to say, okay, then they created an office for that. Debt, whatever office for it. So where would they get the funding? The only funding that state governors have is security votes. They get 500 million, a billion, 2 billion every month. And they don't even give account of it. And I want Nigerians to know that the state governors, even though they are the chief security officers, cannot control a corporal in the police station. They don't have the constitutional right to tell a corporal to stand up. It is only the federal government that can control a police officer in Nigeria. It is only the federal government that can control the army. Like, hey, move, stand up. Not the state government. So that is why many times when these incidents happen, the state governments are handicapped. They will have to call the CP, so maybe CP has to call the IG.
Obviously, nobody could have called the army for NSAS. Not the state governor, not Bola Tinubu. I don't.
No. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu doesn't have any constitutional rights.
So why?
I don't know. I don't know why they are doing that to the poor man. I don't know. But some people might have their sentiments here. But he doesn't have any constitutional rights to even tell a corporal to stand up or a constable. He doesn't have the constitutional rights. Someone who doesn't have the constitutional rights, what he can do is to call maybe the federal government. And remember, Section 217 of the 1999 Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria amended says that it is the president that is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So he is the one that can control the government. And then there are rules of engagements to these things. Now they are talking about NSAS. There are rules of engagements. The commander-in-chief will give an order. He might go to the he might go to the chief of defense staff, or he might go directly to the chief of army staff. Because I think in our constitution, the federal government, the president can go directly to the chief of army staff. He can bypass the chief of defense staff. And then that will go to the commanding officer. Commanding officer of whichever barracks is closest, and then they move. And let us not forget that a curfew was called on that day. A curfew was called on that day. But there was some confusion here and there. But at the end of the day, our state governors do not have power when it comes to security. And that is why, if you remember what happened in Magodo last year, people did not realize that it was a mind game that this guy was playing, Sanwo-Olu. He was trying to let people know that I don't have power over the man that came with the IG team or whatever it is. Remember Daddy Freeze? Remember the Magodo incident?
Yes, now.
That the guy was telling the governor, you can't, like, I'm hearing you, sir, but I can't go by your orders. You have to call the IG. I don't report to you. That man is not even the commissioner. He's lower than the commissioner in the rank. So he's trying to let you people know that, hey, that thing that happened in 2020, I no get hand for am. I no get power to control anybody. I can only ask for help. Hey, you guys come and help me. So I do not know if anyone has any question they want to ask before I go.
All right, guys, one question each so we can close the live. Thank you so much for your...
Any question. Let's go.
Daddy Freeze, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have a question for you. All I want to say is if the government, you've given all the histories, which is very, very informative, I love that. But if the government cannot protect us, at this point, we need to start protecting ourselves. And that's all I have to say.
What's your take on that?
That's subjective.
Okay.
Because according to the Constitution, Section 14, subsection 2B, says the primary role of government is welfare and security. So you need to hold your leaders responsible and quit having plenty children. Quit having plenty children. The productivity of a woman in the north is 7. The productivity of a woman in the south is 4. Nigeria's average fertility of a woman is 5. Our growth rate is 3.5 million. Who is going to do budget for that? Our growth rate is 3.5 million. Our population in 1960 was 45 million. Now in 2020 is 210 million.
Can I ask you, sorry, before you proceed? As at 1960,
yes, ma'am.
were they happening?
What did you say?
As at the 1960 just mentioned, these incidents happening now, were they happening?
Oh yes, in Nigeria, it's always been happening in Nigeria. Oh yes, it's always been happening.
If as at 1960 we didn't have this population and things like this happened, why do you think it has more to do with population?
What I'm saying now, we don't even have the police to even do the job.
Problem. We are our own problems.
Listen, what he's trying to
I'm not doubting that part.
At that time, we had the police, so the incidents could have been better managed. Right?
Managed, yes, that's what I mean.
Have the police. Now, to throw what he said into proper perspective, my mother is Romanian. In 1960, Romania had a population of 18 million. Today, Romania is 19 million. England was 55 million.
55.
Today,
now 65.
England is
65.
So within
65.
the period that England grew from 55 to 65, and Romania grew from 18 to 9, Nigeria grew from 45 to 210. England had a higher population than Nigeria in 1960. England was 55, Nigeria was 45. Today, Nigeria has more population than England and Romania combined. We have a population. I have preached to anybody who is in a Free Nation church knows how I say this all the time. Our parents did 2 things. They made children and they prayed. Those were the only 2 contributions they brought to a Nigeria that was given to them in 1960 on a platter of gold. They did and they prayed, Father Lord, and then in the next days, win. That's why they birthed so many churches and so many places of worship and so many children. Factory, mba. Productivity, mba. 2 Sundays ago, I read out a list of countries that have the top universities in the world. Do you know Singapore? The university of, one Singaporean university is on the top 20 in the whole world. Singapore did not exist when Nigeria became independent. And when they got their independence in 1965, it was amidst poverty. Yet today, Singapore has a university on the top 20. The Singaporean General Hospital is number 12 in the whole world. Higher than British, even some Canadian hospitals. Nigeria, look at us. When it comes to TERROR, we are number 7 in the world. When it comes to church, we are number 1, 2, and 3 in the world. When it comes to anything meaningful, you will not find us there. The narrative definitely has to change. I don't know. I think my brother got logged out. Neka, Spiff, and Samaria, one quick word as I officially sign off.
That Freeze, I already said my last words about this. It's sad. I know right now I don't live in Nigeria, but I also have my family over there that I worry about, my friends and everything. So, and I'm saying it again, it's time for us to start, as citizens, to start doing stuff to protect ourselves. The government has failed us. It doesn't matter what the population is. It doesn't look like we have any form of help from the government when it comes to protecting us. Now, the question goes back to, what can we do to protect ourselves? And I'll leave that to Nigerians. Let's think about what we can do as Nigerians to protect ourselves. That's the way to go. That's what I think.
That's right. She has said it all. Like she rightly said, but at the end, what can we really do? What can they do to protect themselves? It's where it's not just happening, it's happening. Most people think it's all about the northern part. It's not about the northern part. I saw the video that happened in the east. Those guys were speaking Igbo. And I began to wonder. I thought they said it's only the Fulanese and the Hausas that do these things. It's everywhere. We are our own enemies. We can do better. The reason why is I see, okay, talking about population, yes, a lot of them, most of them in the north, all they know is to have children. And
Not
they
only
give,
Lagos is the
yeah,
most populated state in
they
Nigeria,
give, and they don't even care about them. They don't know they don't care about what they turn into. And tomorrow they become nuisance and the rest. I mean, the government and we as individuals, we can do better. But sad that it frees your media. It doesn't. I mean, how many of them watch this? Even if they watch it, it fell on deaf ears. What can they do? The main people that need it are not even listening. They don't even know about it. What can we do? Keep on preaching. You know, I don't know.
Darling sister, I get you. So, ladies, thank you so much. Big shout out to Bongo Lee or whatever his name was. He was so smart. I enjoyed him. I'm sure I'm going to bring him back one of these days. Bong Lee, if I got that correct. Take care, guys, and God bless. I'll probably think of maybe on Wednesday analyzing Nigeria's security issue. Bongo Lee, please send me a DM. Let's pick up the conversation. You'll be my special guest. I love the fact that you have the data and you're passionate about this. And there's something that caught my eye, and I'll say as I'm signing out, simply because he mentioned Tinubu. Everybody said, oh, he's supporting Tinubu. Why are we so sentimental? Nothing gets to our brains because our sentiment is like a thick brick wall backing everything away. Take care, guys. Neka, God bless. Samaria, take care.
Bye.
Mommy.